What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 16 of B.O.B.B. Tonight we finally have on the one, the only, Harleigh. Not gonna say the last name, even though you can find her on our Facebook page, where you should be joining us. You can talk about, honestly, just weird stuff. We talked about, do you sit to wipe or do you stand to wipe last time? And do you fold your toilet paper or do you scrunch it? So, you know, come join the conversation.
Highly important conversations.
Cognitively challenging us, I will tell you that.
They make you think critically.
No, for real though, you guys should join the conversation on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter, Run by Harleigh. And you can also, that's it pretty much. You can download our episodes on any platform that hosts podcasts. You can find us. Just type in.
Well, I don't know if it's any, but there's a significant amount.
We need to mention this real quick too. I don't know if it was a mistake or something got saved, but we're not just Band of Bearded Brothers on there anymore. It's UFO Band of Bearded Brothers. We might need to change that. I don't know if, like, when I was doing an episode, I added that on accident one night, but if you're on there right now, you might have to type in UFO Band of Bearded Brothers, but it's technically Band of Bearded Brothers. We'll get it switched over. So
yeah, I think I saw something like that.
I don't know why that happened. So
Spotify. I thought you changed it intentionally.
No, I was I didn't even. Someone brought it to my attention literally like 2 weeks ago, and I forgot to bring it up. So, anyways, in this episode, there's going to be a little bit of an echo. Right now, you're not hearing it. You're getting good, clean, quality audio. Enjoy it while it lasts, because unfortunately, nothing we could do is on her end. We did have a few hiccups, but we try to make it as good as we can. Maybe with Micah's little magical fingers.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be able to get most of it out of there.
We'll see. So, but in this episode, we talked about mainly parenting, believe it or not. We had no real set plan in this one, and it led into us talking about parenting to begin.
Well, I mean, we were supposed to talk about Jack the Ripper.
We were supposed to talk about Jack the Ripper, but who follows our plans? Come on. Anyways, we're rebels. So Jack the Ripper, not on the table. Parenting was on the table for a while, and then I think Trump basically was like the second part of that top. Well, the coronavirus, so parenting, coronavirus, then Trump in politics.
Yeah.
Politics as a millennial.
Major things that everybody likes to hear about.
Yeah. So yeah. Get excited, guys. And right now, letting you know, next episode is going to be about Skinwalker Rancho. So Micah,
break out that textbook, start doing my research.
He's trying to do his research. It's going to be a two-part thing because, like, I'm doing one part of it, he's doing one part of it. We're super excited. We have no idea how it's going to go, and then we're going to get on there and talk about Jack the Ripper. So it'll make sense. Keep lying to you guys because, I guess that's just what we do now. But, no, this was an exciting episode. I was glad we finally were able to make it happen and have the conversation. And next time, we're going to get Harleigh set up with the camera, too. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get that in place. So if you're listening to audio, it doesn't matter to you. So, that's our other thing they can watch us on YouTube. We have our own YouTube channel now. Describe to them how they actually need to look it up, though, because Christina checked in. She had a hard time actually finding us.
Well, I mean, you're going to have a hard time finding it. Like, we have, like, I think maybe ourselves as subscribers.
I'm not sure. I haven't checked it out
I think we were maybe like 20-something views, maybe. So it's probably going to be really hard to find. We can post a link to Facebook on it.
Yeah, we'll post a link. But, I mean, if you're listening and you're not part of the Facebook page, you just need to type in Band of Bearded Brothers. Yeah. But all one word, it's not spaced out. And at the beginning of each name, it's a capital letter. So capital B for band.
I don't think that portion matters.
Oh, really? I thought that's
what we finally found
as we had to do.
And I'm not 100%. I'm not 100% sure if there's no spaces. There might be spaces. There might not be spaces. I don't really remember.
We're totally prepared. So,
but we can't make. I can't make a custom URL yet. Because we haven't. Established ourselves or something.
We gotta get those numbers up, and then we can do that.
Yeah. Eventually, we'll be able to make it something easy. But right now, it's a bunch of fobbled numbers after. YouTube.com /blah.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, yeah.
But, all right, well, let's dig into this episode. You guys enjoy. And as we mentioned on this, if you are another listener, I've already had a couple that have been reaching out to me and sharing stuff that I wouldn't mind eventually bringing on as well. So the more you guys share on our page, the more you reach out to us as individuals, the more likely you might be to come on as a guest if we feel it'd be
if that's something you're interested in.
Yeah, and if you're interested in that. And I think that's it. So you guys enjoy your evening, enjoy your weekend, or it's probably the end of the weekend by the time you're listening to this, but we're going into the weekend, baby. So You guys have a good night, and we'll be back to talk to you about Skinwalker Ranch next week. Roll film.
Peace.
Alrighty, guys, welcome to episode 16 of B.O.B.B. We finally did it. After a month and a half of saying we were going to have Harleigh on, we officially have Harleigh with us. So, Harleigh, welcome to B.O.B.B.
Hey, it's been a long week, and it's been well needed, apparently. Oy.
So just real quick,
Ridiculous.
in case I am not able to fix it, there is a slight echo. We're aware of it. Hopefully I'll be able to get that out with the edit, but just so you guys know.
Yeah, I know we put up a video saying that we totally fixed all our problems, but
Oh yeah,
we lied to you. Or we tempted the podcast guys.
Advertisement.
Bet.
yeah. It just has to do with the connection to get Harleigh in. So
Yeah.
hopefully it'll be fixed.
Yeah, basically suck.
Little bit of background on Harleigh, guys. Obviously, if you're part of the Facebook page, if you're not, you should join. She's been very active on there. That's where we met you in the past, obviously, because like we were friends with Nate, your husband, from way back when. But through this getting started, you kind of joined the Facebook page and shared quite a bit, and then you took over. I almost said Skype. You took over. Crap! I don't even go on there. What is
Get my own
it?
Skype
Twitter.
to work.
Twitter. She took over Twitter for us. Yeah, and has been a big part of, I guess you could say, our fan base as far as bringing information to our attention, also to people on Facebook as well. So if you guys interact with us on there and keep bringing up good topics like she has, you can end up having maybe perhaps an episode with us where we bring you on. So, yeah, so that's kind of it in a nutshell. And hey, do you want to tell them what happened, by the way? Because we were going to have you on last week, and then you, like, I guess tried to die on us or something. So what was that all about?
So, my chest, like, I went in because I thought I was having a heart attack because my chest was tight. Like, I mean tight. Like, it felt like someone was sitting on me. And then my head felt like on the inside, it literally felt like it was just burning, like from the inside out, just burning. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm definitely dying. And then my instant reaction was, I have the Rona. So I was like, fuck, man, didn't even go nowhere, and I have the Rona. So I like drove myself, and the first hospital was like, you're fine. And I was like, no, I'm not. So I went to another hospital, and they basically were like, you're fine. So I got home and woke Nate up for 4 nights in a row crying, and Nate was like, I'm not a fucking doctor. I don't know what you want me to do. Stop bothering me. Go. Okay.
Whoa.
Supportive. Yeah, so I just toughed it out. Yeah, I was like, all I wanted was comfort, and he was like, you're waking me up. Okay, well, go back to bed then. I'm gonna die. So, I don't really know.
Man, I'll get work at 6, so if you could figure this out for me.
Literally him. He's like, I gotta work in a couple hours. I'm like, oh, it's fine. I'll just die. It's okay. It's fine.
I mean, you live, so yay. We didn't die.
I was like, oh, okay. So I don't know really what was wrong. I still have no answers, but it has kind of calmed down a little bit. And I haven't woke Nate up in like 4 nights without without crying.
I mean, that was a real concern. That was the real concern. When you started initially telling the story, I was like, what about Nate's sleep schedule? Because that, for me too, I was initially concerned.
Well, I mean, you can probably relate with your sleeping beauty needs.
Yeah, they've been
sleep till God knows when.
Real
Oh,
intense.
he went to bed at what time did he go to bed? 3 a.m. Didn't get out of bed until like 3 p.m. Christina's like, yeah, he went to bed.
Not far off.
I'm pretty sure there's been at least twice in the last 6 weeks where I didn't get out of bed till 3 p.m. But there have been several times where I didn't go to bed at all. There's been at least 5 times I just stayed up for 36 hours or whatever and then went to bed at like 7 o'clock the next day.
He makes good
Living your
choices.
absolute best life. Living your best life during the Rona season.
Do you guys think it? So Christy and I were talking about this today. Do you think in any small way, shape, or form, once we're back to work, even though I kind of, as much as I hate to even admit it, I kind of miss work a little, that routine, do you think we're going to look back and be like, aw, I miss quarantine? Like, just any small part of it?
No. No. Absolutely not.
I mean, I'm not going to miss being able to not get out of bed at 4:30 in the morning, but, you know.
Yeah, that part's going to suck. But okay, this is so weird for me, too. I feel like it snuck up on me. Like, it's crazy that we've been in the house. Like, I don't feel like it's been that long. It's been well over a month. Excuse me, I think it's been a month.
I don't know how neither of you feel like it's not been that long when you both have, like, toddlers. I am losing my mind.
Well,
literally. But then again, you guys are all...
Oh, I think we just lost her.
We're going to have to add her back.
Oh.
We should have never tempted the podcasting gods.
Yeah, you shouldn't have.
Hey, for those of you that are listening, as you can tell, we're not the problem. I'm going to tell you right now, it's her. Hear how crystal clear we sound?
The echo is gone.
It's totally her. She said it wasn't. She's lying. I'm just kidding.
I think it's just because of the phone. I think it does something screwy
to
and
add
it's
her
sending audio back for some reason. Which is kind of what we had our problem for a while there was. So...
Well, I think it's too because in her situation, both her mic and her earphone.
Oh,
what's
she's
up?
back.
That might happen once or twice. It's okay. It might happen. We let everybody already know about it, and it is what it is. This is podcasting during Rona time. This is everybody's using the internet and weighing it down. Plus, I don't think
but anyways,
yeah, go ahead.
Did you guys hear anything I said? Like, are you guys all?
You didn't know how we were doing it with toddlers, and yes, we all.
Yeah, and then you started with a toddler comment, and then it cut off right there.
Okay, I was gonna say because I think Brittany's still essential, right? Is she still working at?
So essential.
Howie's, right?
Hoagie man, yeah.
Whatever.
She is now. They closed down for a little bit, and then they just opened back up. Actually, yesterday, they were super busy.
See, that's probably why I'm losing my mind more than you guys, because Nate is essential. So like, I've been home with my kid since like March 15th, and I'm not a mom to want to be I'm not a stay-at-home mom kind of mom. Like, it's not very fun.
I mean, I understand the frustration with it, but I've gotten lucky enough. We've gotten some breaks from our kids. I don't spend 24 hours a day with them.
Must be nice.
Yeah, we had no kids yesterday night. We had no kids tonight.
Wow.
So, oh yeah, we're
Lucky.
I mean, we're getting some booze tonight. I think we're gonna.
Nice.
I mean, I'm not gonna get like plastic.
Okay,
but...
we get what you're saying. It's okay, we get it. 10 p.m. You got to be off. We heard you.
Oh yeah, 10 p.m. Yeah, I mean, Brittany's gonna be home about 10 p.m. So.
Oh, then you definitely.
I gotta be done.
Yeah, no, it's been tricky for everybody. Handling it in different ways. I will admit that's the only part that has sucked. All the time with the kids has been great, but it's also been a little bit like, man, every once in a while you're just like, just a break, and especially like Christina, because we got the toddlers.
I feel that.
Brooklyn's only
you've
over
got
2
3
months.
children. Jesus.
Yeah. I think, Micah, what's going on is I feel like it do the blur your background. Click it on your Skype and then see if it'll fix it for you. For those of you that are just listening and can't see, Micah's camera has been totally fine this whole time, functioning, no issues. The minute we said, "All right, let's go live," it was like, I'm telling you, try blurring your background like that, and it might zoom, focus in on you.
Can't remember how to do
But anyways, it's in your setting bar. It's down on the bottom right.
Choose background.
So anyways, for those of you that might be listening to this, like I said, if you do what Harleigh has done and kind of share and promote on the show, and you're bringing forth good content, then maybe reach out to us or reach out to you, and we might have you on the show as a guest. So that's basically it in a nutshell. So thank you, by the way, though, Harleigh. How did you, if you don't mind her asking, how did you find us originally? Because did I send you an invite? I don't remember if I did or I didn't. Maybe
I don't know. I think. Oh no, I think somebody shared. One of the women, either Tommy or Christina or Brittany, shared it. So then I went on there and then I shared it, and Tommy was like, "That's what good friends are for." And then she tried taking my place, but we all know like.
Yeah, what happened, Tommy? I mean, she called you out, so I don't think we've heard from Tommy in a while.
She got promoted to be a manager, so she's been working a lot.
Training. She had like 6 weeks of training up north somewhere.
I gotcha.
Yeah, well, and I think she is now, but she said that her place of work is open every day until close, and I mean it's a sports bar, so their close is like 9 to 10 o'clock at night. So I mean, and it's just carry outs. All it is carry outs. So I mean, crap.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I broke down and I did get carry out today for the first time from the place I don't like to say. Starts with an M word, but my kids were really missing it.
Jeez.
And
that's your first time? That's like our everyday lunch.
Oh, this was our first time. We got them some Happy Meals and then we hit Taco Bell. And honestly,
man, I've been hitting fast food since like the day quarantine hit. I hate cooking so freaking much. It's not even funny. I hate saying it because I'm like, I'm straight up just like feeding my kid the worst food, but I can't even say I'm sorry. I can't even be like, oh, well.
You could tell too which guys wanted to be there and which ones didn't. Like the McDonald's people were pretty happy and chill, but like Taco Bell, I could barely hear them. They just mumbled and like literally shoved the food through the door like in this bucket thing, and like it was just...
I mean, to be fair though, think about the scenario here. Like the whole CARES Act and whatnot, people on unemployment are making almost $1,000 a week, and these people that are essential are still making their garbage paychecks, and they still got to go to work.
I agree.
That's kind of sucky. So.
Except for me, I got so mad at unemployment. I'm not even gonna talk. Got approved, and I got my set dollar amount, and then they took it away from me 5 weeks in. And I was like, what?
Really?
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I've yet to receive an unemployment check. I probably should call them this Monday.
I haven't either, but I can't get a hold of them. Like I can't get through. So.
Yeah.
Well, see, I never actually got money, but like on my account, it says you got approved for this weekly, like this much is coming in. So I got approved March 17th, and I haven't seen any money. So then I went in like the other day, and it was like, just kidding, you're denied. I was like, okay.
We have reviewed a
cool.
profile.
That's
we make
fine.
a mistake. So bad.
Well, I'm hoping they at least give me something. So I know if I need to go get a job or what. Like, I gotta try to find a job at Walmart or. Yeah. And then we're gonna have to figure out something with the kids because Brittany has work and I don't know. It's gonna be totally complicated, but hopefully they're just like, you know what? Yeah, we verified that you do currently have a job.
I'd be happy if it all just comes in like one lump sum. I'd be happy about that. If like the past 5 to 6 weeks, just like boom. Be a nice little pop, but anyways, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So from eating the fast food, we all felt like terrible afterwards. Not like sick, but it was kind of weird how just taking that roughly 6-week break or whatever from fast food, eating it for the first time was like, oh my god, like this is terrible. This does not make me like it tastes okay, but I did not feel great afterwards.
It is super greasy and it doesn't. It doesn't make you feel good if you haven't eaten it in a long time.
Yeah. I always find it interesting people get so...
I can't say the same, but...
so pissy about what other parents feed their kids. Like, I think there's a difference if you're just like, if you walk in on a parent and the kid's like eating a 5-pound bag of Skittles and like a 2-liter of Pepsi, but other than that, or Mountain Dew, might as well do it right. Point being,
Why you gotta be hating on Skittles?
my point being, that might be really bad, but I just think it's funny that other parents get, I shouldn't say parents, people who do not have children get very fired up about what your children that are not theirs are eating. And I don't know, I find
Yes. Yes.
it interesting sometimes.
Oh, that is the most annoying, like, parental like subject. Like, what happens with my kid and people put their stupid sense in there. And it's like,
cents.
listen. Yeah, I said incense, and I was like, oh, that sounds like incest. So
Coming in, burning like
was like,
sage.
oh.
And they're just like, incense, bro.
you know, it's fine. They put their incense and their 2 cents in. They put stuff where they shouldn't put it, okay?
They come in shaking like
Ay.
what do they call those crap? Like the Wiccan people, like the people that perform seances and stuff. They have like the little beads instead of the rocker. They shake it. It's like a maraca thing or whatever those are called.
I have no idea what it's called.
Hey, I took too long to explain it. You're keep going, Harleigh. We interrupted you. Go ahead.
Oh, I was cool. But no, like with my kid, she doesn't get juice. Like, well, she does rarely, but she doesn't get juice. She gets water. She gets her veggies. She gets her vegetables. Mind you, we eat like a bunch of fast food, but she gets like the apples and the healthy apple juice with her meal. And everyone's like, but she can have juice. She's almost 3. I'm like, but like, no, but like not. I get so mad, like especially my mom. She gets so freaking mad at me when I'm like, don't give her that. She's like, she'll live. You ate it. I'm like, oh, okay.
It is pretty much just like
gonna punch you in the throat.
It's pretty bad. It's funny. Okay, babe, if you're listening, I love you. First of all, I don't think she'll ever listen to the show, but I'm putting these disclaimers out in case she does. I love you, but I watched my wife straight up lie to the doctor the one time because she's like, "And we're limiting juice and pop." This is like when we first had Liam as a toddler, right? Like he's not, and she's like, "Yeah, like that's a treat. Juice is a treat." And I was like, "What the? Are you sure?" Sure. I've seen him walking around with just
Where?
juice. But anyways, it is kind of funny.
Man,
Listen,
I do that to the doctors too, though. Like, I don't want their judgment. Just see if she's healthy and we're fine.
yeah,
Like,
my kid
I don't need your
exercises
judgment.
totally. We can make him go out and run and everything.
I hand her a piece of trash, she throws it away. So her walking in the trash can, that's her exercise. Like, I feel bad.
What was the other thing that I felt bad about the one time? It was something to do with the doctor, but it was similar to the same thing as far as being just that overall feeling of, what I was going to say is I think the best advice that we ever got from somebody else was at our baby shower, the very first one. And they basically just wrote in saying like, hey, we're all winging it. So don't take it. Just do what you think is best as a parent for your child and take everybody's advice with a grain of salt because we're all ultimately kind of winging it. And I've always kind of tried to remember that when like even offering advice to anybody else because like I don't know their situation. I don't know their kid. I don't know what, we all kind of have basic ideas of what probably, will and will not work and what should be corrected. But ultimately it's your kid. Like you are producing this product. So whatever comes from that is a bit on you,
See, I don't try to tell nobody what to do with their kid because if they try to tell me anything size, Nate's probably going to be right next to me and he's probably going to throw a gasket at him. Like, he's going to flip out. For some reason, he hates it being told, even though I'm the one that mainly, like, raises, not in a bad way, but, like, I'm more prominent in Paisley's life. And he's like, oh, you frickin' said. So I don't try to say anything, like, to any parent except for car seats, man. Like people posting pictures of their kids like car seat like strapped way wrong. I'm like, ooh, I need to say something because that's dangerous.
And there's things too. There's certain things. Well, see, and this is where it gets weird because I always try to remember this too. I agree with what you're saying. For as like, I don't want to tell someone how to raise their kid because in that same breath that I might be suggesting something, it's like if I had to flip the table, do I want to hear their suggestion? You know what I mean? But it's hard when certain things like I didn't comment on the video, but like that video where the girl was screaming and then spit at her mom, is for people to be like, there's no reason to even think about correcting this kid. They're just tired, and perhaps, but like, man, I don't know. Like spitting is like drawing a lot. Spitting and biting. You get to spitting and biting, which children do prominently in the beginning. At least ours did. They try at least once or twice. They're gonna try, and if you just treat it as now, they're gonna bite you again. Like you have to. There needs to be some sort of action. At least for ours, that's how it worked. Again, I'd always tell people that.
I mean, I was always taught, you bite me, I bite you. My mom was mean,
like
man.
My boss was yelling at boss bit you. Well, I bit him first, technically. I'm just kidding. No, you're right. That whole line of like, it's weird that we remember hearing all of our grandparents tell our parents that, like, bite them back. Like, isn't that weird that our grandparents had no problem saying that? Beat that child, take the belt off, and beat the fear of God into them. Like, that was a prominent. I feel like we heard that a lot growing up. Pretty much.
And now we are the way we are now. Now there's Rona.
No, there's Rona.
Somebody got carried away because their grandparent beat them. Now there's Rona.
It's so weird how when you just grow up a certain way, you just assume that's how life is. Like, for Mike and I, it was. I don't know about Micah, but I would say for sure myself, my daily goal as a kid was don't get a spanking. That was it. Like, if I didn't get a spanking that day,
Same.
that was a good day. It was a good day for me.
That's a good one.
But I don't feel like I spank my kids every day. Could they be spanked every day? Probably. But do I spank them every day? Not always. I mean, like, I don't
Not
know.
always.
Some days are worse than others.
Yeah, same. See, mine was one. I was the youngest, so I seen what was coming to me. So if I didn't act right, I seen it with my own eyes. My sister got her stuff handed to her. My mom dragged my sister down the driveway in a clothes hanger, waiting for the juvenile bus. I was like, oh no, oh hell no, no. I love you, Mom. I love you. You can take my soul. Like, I was like, no.
That's pretty bad.
But, like, oh, dude, it was my sister called my mom the B word and then tried punching my mom. So my mom was like, okay, let's get it. And I was like, no.
Return that like, one to sender kind of deal there, I guess. She was just like,
it don't quite work that way.
She tried. Oh, I was like, whoa, no. But, so, like, with my kid gets her fair share amount of, like butt spankings, or she gets her mouth popped once in a great while because she likes to run her mouth. And for a toddler, my kid is not 3 yet. For a toddler, my kid is the most respectful thing I have ever seen. Like, I have nephews. I have a bunch of nephews and nieces. She is so respectful. And I'm like, I don't even spank you that much, but, like, good job.
Yeah.
I'm like, we don't want to see what happens later in life.
I think that with most people that there's like a line, right? For most people, they're like they'll accept, that you can crack your child on the rear end, and then they think that it's too far when you use words like you're gonna beat your child or something like that, because they just associate it with like someone
abuse.
coming in with like a 2x4 and just like banging on this, like. I feel like that's what people kind of imagine.
It's not funny.
So,
yeah, we shouldn't laugh at the poor kids like that.
But I mean, like I'm completely okay with like my girls need to get their butts spanked sometimes. They do some stupid stuff, and you need to make sure they don't do those things, right? We don't usually use it as like a primary source of discipline, but it's definitely there if a line gets crossed.
Yeah.
So that's what I personally think works better for my kids. But then there's certain kids that like a bus spanking ain't gonna do anything for. There's certain kids that's
my nephew.
all that works.
Yeah.
So
that's kind of how
you just got to figure out
right?
kids.
I mean, because
I think the only thing that my kid has not realized that she gets a spanking for is eating dog food. She will still go in there and grab a whole handful of dog food, even though she knows that a spanking's coming. Like, she's like, yes, best nutrition ever. Fuck. the most annoying thing, dude.
They definitely test us, that's for sure. I always tell people it's like the most awesome responsibility you can ever have is being a parent, because it's definitely a responsibility.
It also adds a lot of, in my opinion, for me, I get a lot of self-reflection out of it, because
For sure.
it's very hard to yell at your kids about doing something that you do every day, and
Yeah.
the more you realize that, like, you just got done yelling at your kid about doing this, and you catch yourself doing something that you just yelled at your kid for doing, and it's like, dang it, man, I gotta change myself.
I'm a hypocrite.
Yeah, like,
God damn it.
I think it could definitely help you. It can help you. It helps you grow, I think, as a human. You don't look at things quite the same anymore. And especially like
yeah.
for like where you want life to go for your kid and everything, you got to think about that. So you've got a lot of things that change when you have kids. When you're single, you don't have no kids. Like, there's no responsibility, pretty much. I mean, you might be responsible. You might have responsibilities. You go to a job. You got a mortgage, whatever it is. But you don't really know responsibility until you're responsible for
You're not raising another human being.
one or more other humans' survival. Like,
Or just especially for moms, like how selfless. I mean, as a father too, but especially I think for moms, how selfless you guys have to be, moms in general. And there's single dads out there too, so I'm not taking away from the single dads. But being a single parent, I think period is hard. But being a mom, period, I think is hard. In or without relationship,
Yes.
because kids do. I mean, I've
Yes.
seen it. There's times like I'm sitting right there, and Liam has left the room that I'm sitting in to bring something to Christina to bother her. I'm right there.
my girls do that all the
It's
time.
so annoying.
We've really been working
It's
on
so
that.
annoying.
We've been trying, and sometimes it makes me feel bad. Like, am I like doing something? I try to just do more for them if I think that they might need something done, but. We've been really working on that, like, hey, I'm an option too. Like, I can do things, Because when we're in the work routine, I come home during the work week, and I'd be home for, like, maybe 3-4 hours, and it's bedtime. So I think they're with mom all day, and, maybe they just get comfortable going to her, about anything that they need. But I do think moms get we might... whatever situation you're in, whether the man works or the woman works or whoever's working, we need each other. Like, I'm sure for you and Nate, because like, I don't know how it works for you guys, but like for me, even though Christina might be staying home, I could not go out and earn the money that I can earn if she's not here with the kids taking care of them. Like, that isn't an option for me. So I don't really look at it as like I may be doing the actual physical work or whatever at that time, but you know what I mean? Like, I feel like we're a team. I don't really try to compare it as like, well, I've got this, and like throw it in her face or whatever. And
I think that would.
See, I don't think.
In my personal opinion,
I was gonna let you go
I
ahead.
think bringing that up would make you kind of a douchebag.
yeah,
If you're the breadwinner or whatever, and then you're like, well, you can't spend this money unless you ask me first, and
screw that.
da 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 da. Like, you're kind of a douche. Like, if you're married,
Yeah.
it's a mutual thing. Like, you're in this together, like you just said. This is not a I do this, so you have to do this. It's you should be trying to help each other, and that's the way that it should be. I don't think trying to make it
See, I
seem
think
like you
with,
do
like-
more or whatever in a
Right.
relationship is healthy.
I think it's the hard thing for moms though, because like you said, but as a mom perspective, like Nate gets home from work and he's like, oh, well, my job is physical. He's like, you shouldn't be as tired as you are. And I'm like, do you realize that this side is exhausting, like mentally exhausting, like dealing with a toddler who, can I have a snack? Can I have a snack? Can I have a snack 397 times a day? Like, it's the most uncomfortable thing. But like, in general, being a parent, like, I didn't expect to be a mom. I didn't really want to be a mom. Things happened. I was with Nate very, very early, very quick, and things happened. So I was not expecting to be a mom. I did not like the feeling of anything being pregnant. I didn't like it. So like when she came out and everything was different. Like I didn't want to breastfeed, breastfed. I didn't want to do this, did that. I did so many changing of myself because I was like, I want my kid to be healthy. I don't want her to grow up like I did. I don't want her to be mentally abused, physically abused. Like I want her to be perfect. I want her to have a college fund. Like I broke myself into a whole new person. And then Nate it was really hard for Nate because he never like took care of his nieces and nephews, like ever. Like he didn't take care of them. So I was up every night. I was taking care of the baby every night. Even now, if she's sick and she comes in the room crying, like I take her into the shower. I deal with her. Like he doesn't really deal with that. He parents and he parents well. He doesn't parent to the full extent as like a mom would, or like I would, because like I take her to parks, I take her to play dates, I take her everywhere. Like this kid exhausts me, and I only have one. I don't know how you have three.
Well, that's a question better sent to Christina than it is William.
When a man and a woman love
I already
one
told her
another-
how I commend her. I told her I commend her. She's a strong woman. I was like, I couldn't do it.
No, it's you're definitely right though about the mom being there, just dealing with that part. Because even if even when there was times that in the very beginning with Liam, I did get up a little more to help out at night and stuff. But then by the time Ezra came along, and I had moved into the job that I was doing now, I did need to try and get roughly at least 8 hours of sleep every night. So if something happened during the night, then she usually just handled that. Not because I asked, like said, hey, you have to or anything, but like it was just she, first of all, would hear them before I ever would. Like she just would wake up. And, but you know what I mean? Like there's definitely sacrifices on both ends, but I definitely feel in the beginning, those first 3 to 5 years, for sure 3 years, that it's on the mom a lot. Depending on any situation, but generally speaking, because the baby's, whoever your kid is, usually just drawn more to mom anyways. Mom's just, like you said, all day long, mommy. It's just mommy. So
Mine doesn't even say mommy no more. I'm not even kidding you when I say mine is literally just, can I have a snack? She will be eating a bowl of cereal and be like, Mom, I ate my bowl of cereal. Can I have a snack? What?
Our youngest right now is going through a major problem of she doesn't want to eat what is put in front of her. She would much rather eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or cereal or just about anything else that could be junk food rather than the food that is sitting in front of her.
And she will literally, does it have saturated fat?
She will literally sit there. Like, my wife and I sat there for 35 minutes the other night to get her to eat, I think, maybe 5 bites worth of food. Like, it is an incredible struggle to get a 4-year-old to eat food that they do not want to eat. It's unbelievable.
Have you ever tried I know like making food itself part of like a game, but have you ever like tried to make it like a game? Because that's when Paisley first started eating food, she didn't like texture, and I'd have to make it a game. If you finish this, we can do this, and she'd be like, "Oh, I'm fucking going!" Like, okay, she would go hard, man.
We've added incentives or added like downsides to not eating your food. Like if you don't eat your food, we're gonna have cookies later, or but you're not gonna get any if you don't eat your food, or stuff like that. And we used to do the whole like airplane and stuff, but she's 4 freaking years old. She's plenty old enough to feed herself, and I'm not doing airplane anymore. Not happening.
Oh, Dad.
Listen, she gets away with far
dare
more
you.
than she should, and that's one of those things that I'm not gonna feed her.
What?
We're not doing that.
What do you think it is to we as parents? I don't know how I'm kind of on the parent topic tonight, I guess, but it just got me thinking about it because we were talking about all this. What do you think it is in us that? Do you think it's us, or have we been conditioned? Since obviously, if you guys know about the show, it's all about, we talk about constantly we as the people being conditioned. Is something conditioning us? Are you truly a critical thinker? Are you truly a free thinker? Are you willing to put yourself out there in a situation that's uncomfortable to think about? But having to do with kids, it's hard enough being a parent as it is. But then I feel like without anybody even actually doing it, you're constantly in some ways judging yourself either as a parent
Oh, yeah.
or your kid to other kids.
100%.
And I don't mean that like I'm not saying that we do that, but I'm just saying some people generally are dealing with that. Some people have maybe a grandparent or an aunt or whatever or an uncle or whatever the case may be. Maybe even another, parent that's doing it. But what I'm saying is, do you think that that exists, or do you think that we're just making that up in our own heads? Like we're maybe way too hard on ourselves than we really need to be.
I feel like it could be both. Like, I feel like we're hard on ourselves because of society itself. Like, we're like, oh, like at the beginning stages of my kid, like I compared her to everybody because I was like, my kid is super intelligent, like really, really, really intelligent. Is she autistic? Is she like way above her curve? Is she going to slow down? Like, no, she is. Like, she was. And so I was like, is she, like, what's going on? So I instantly compared her to every kid around her. But then I also had, like, the parent side. Like, my parents and Nate's parents conditioned me to be like, his parents were like, well, she has to be done breastfeeding now because it's weird. And then my mom would be like, you should just put her on formula. So like, I thought I had to do that. I never did. But like, I feel like the conditioning of the parents, like, you should do this and you lived through it. You should be fine. She would be fine. Like, I feel like it was a lot of pressure as a parent to like step back and be like, no, this is my kid.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that, Micah?
I think as far as like comparing your kids and stuff, I mean, people compare things all the time. Like that's human nature. Like it's just like when you meet somebody new, you form an impression of them before you really talk to them, just based on what they look like, and kind of what you perceive that personality to be. So I don't think that like you shouldn't beat yourself up at all for comparing your kid to another kid or anything like that, if that's what we were talking about. But like, I don't know, I feel like it's gonna happen, so there's no point in beating yourself up on it. And people are probably, in general, people are too hard on themselves. I mean, think about like us, for instance, with this show. I bash this show all the time. I'm like, yeah, I know. we're kind of garbage. Yeah,
we'll be doing the show, and he's like, we're such trash. And I'm like, bro, you're doing a good job. Like, settle down. It's okay.
So yeah, I mean, I think people are in general, people are too hard on themselves. Now there are some people that are not. And typically those people are narcissistic, and that comes with its own problems. So
I have created a 50-point plan to make the best child ever. This is the first 6 months. Begin now. Yeah. No, I think, I mean, maybe it might sound weird to say, like, obviously you should have a little bit of a baseline, right? I'm not saying, hey, your kid shouldn't matter. I'm not completely on the free spirit ride thing either, where they're like, they'll figure it out. Like, we don't know what they are. Like, I'm not going.
Have you
for
heard
me
of,
as a parent, I'm not on that boat. But
it's kind of on the what you're talking about, unschooling. Have you heard of it?
I have not, but I was just about to address schooling, so it's funny you bring that up.
So unschooling is basically the concept that you don't have to teach your kid anything, and that they will teach themselves, and society will teach them all they need to know.
Well, that sounds like a really lazy. That's a cop out.
That sounds idiotic to me. Like, literally, you don't teach them how to read. You don't teach them how to
what the
do math. Like, you don't teach them anything that they need to make it through society. And society is supposed to like pick them up and put them on their back.
What's that, Harleigh? It broke up.
I said, what is that gonna do? Like, what good does that do for anybody? Like, they're gonna grow up and be like completely retarded in a non-mean way. Sorry if that's how you teach it, but that's nonsensical. Yeah. Like,
we have to use the word restarted now. You have to
restart it.
It is hard.
See, I will clarify myself right now. I do not think retarded is for mentally disabled. I will call people mentally disabled. So when I say retarded, I literally mean just stupid. So I don't mean like.
Well, I mean that would be technically that.
That is the biggest pet peeve.
But it's funny how certain
pet
words.
peeve is people calling it.
yeah, special needs or something. Yeah, it's and that's I guess the whole point of what I'm saying here, between what you've mentioned about, let's say, with the certain words now being not allowed, and what you're bringing about unschooling. Okay, baseline, we should have certain things that we should all know how to do just to be a functioning human being. That's like you're giving them a good shot. You're not hurting them, right? But I do think it's funny, and we even kind of brought this up with Ben when he was on the show. Funny, real quick, I had to bring this up about switching gears just a little bit. We got to give him a shout out for this. Did you hear Ben thinking that he pissed you off when he was on the show? Did you hear about that?
I hadn't really addressed it yet. I guess I should probably like send him a message or something.
Oh my god!
I didn't mean to
He
make
listens to the
anybody
show, so
feel like I got pissed off at somebody.
yeah, that's just Micah's face. He was born with it.
Yeah,
That's just.
I have I have resting, you know what face. And...
Oh, Harleigh will say it for you. Harleigh, what kind of face does Micah have? Oh, we might have lost Harleigh. Did we lose Harleigh?
Yeah, it's possible. I don't hear our echo.
We probably
She must
lost
be
Harleigh
gone.
again. But, okay, well, while he's getting her back, I guess I'll wait till you completely get her back before I say what my question was.
I'm back.
Oh,
She's
there we
back.
go. Sorry about that. So we were saying that when we had Joe and Ben on, that Ben thought Micah was pissed off at him because Ben and I got pretty we got definitely buzzed. I'll say that. And we were just having a great conversation, and Ben was like, "Dude, Micah was so nice about it, but you could tell he was pissed." And Micah was just saying he basically has like RBF face. So I mean, it is what it is, you know. That was the face he was born with. But
He was probably hangry.
he's angry. Yeah.
He was
But
probably hangry.
My point to that is there is to a degree when it comes to school. Harleigh, for instance, you attended school, right? You weren't homeschooled?
No, I was not. Nate was.
Right. So Nate, I think, had a mixture of the two, right? He was homeschooled and he went to school as well. He kind of had like a mix of the both.
Yeah.
And I actually think that's I think a middle of the ground line isn't bad, personally, because you can go too far on the homeschooling where you're not trying to... I have an argument, and this came up, and this has to do with more religion, but recently with one of my friends on Facebook where she asked a question, and it was listed having to do with scripture and whatnot, and people basically were like, we're not even going to talk about this. They had her remove the Facebook post. They tossed stuff over her back, like over her rail, like she has a fence. They tossed over some books in her backyard to like study this before you start giving an opinion as a woman. Like they went down a weird, dark path. And I don't understand people that if you don't agree with something, say something truly challenges you. Like, for us, instance, we think that the unlearning thing is stupid. But I would listen to someone if they came out and they wanted to explain their point of view. I would at least hear them out. I'd be like, hey, make your case for me, right? Like, let me understand. Help me understand how you think this is best. And, at least have that conversation. The people who shut things down, I don't get that part. Go ahead.
I'll be right back. I got a phone call.
Taking off. Oh, okay. You want us to pause?
I don't get that either.
Keep going. Go ahead.
Yeah, just keep going. I'll be right back.
Okay. But yeah, I guess my point is, Harleigh, is that the like with the whole conditioning thing, I've always wondered it when you go to school, and basically what I'm saying is that going all the way back to the parenting thing about, she has to be done at this amount of time with breastfeeding, whatever. Do you think a certain amount of conditioning took place through the public educational system to, condition or program people to think this is how society needs to behave? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, growing up, we're kind of the first generation where someone having a tattoo isn't the end of the world. You know what I mean? I remember growing up in the 90s, hearing people talk about tattoos like it was the end of the world. If you had a piercing or tattoos that was visible, dude, you were like satanic, like, you know what I mean? So, do you know what I'm saying though? Like, do you see that at all for yourself?
Yeah, kind of. I don't know. Maybe it was just because my school was trash, but
Where did you go to school?
I'm for real, but Adrian.
Oh yeah, no, yeah,
So
you were
stupid.
trash. Just kidding.
Oh, thanks.
You grew up in Adrian.
Just throw me under the bus too. It's okay.
No, it's so funny. Yeah, no,
Oh.
Adrian was. We know all about Adrian. Yeah.
Ugh.
No, you're not wrong.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't have much view on the conditioning, but I feel like a lot of the things were I guess it wasn't necessarily conditioned, but it was more swept under the rug in public schools than it could be in like a private school or a homeschooling situation. Like
Yeah.
bullying and all that things. I feel like kids think that that's okay to do is because they see it, nothing's done about it, and it's cool. Like that I think is the biggest thing I learned in high school is like bullying is ridiculous. But other than that, I don't really think I remember or care to remember any much from my school.
Well, I guess, and that's kind of my point about that is like, do you feel that what you were taught in high school? Now, again, I'm not entirely putting this on the high school. Okay, I'm not entirely putting this on the curriculum far as saying you had to totally get my kid prepared for life, but and our cousin is a teacher. We have many friends who are teachers, so in no way, shape, or form am I knocking those who are in the education system. I've said time and time again and before on the show that they're some of the most giving, careless people, as far as just giving their time and truly caring, okay? But I do think that the curriculum sometimes is just a base. It's just, you have a certain point A to point B. It's kind of a straight line. And if you sway one way too far off this line, then you're just not going to do good in school. You could actually be a really productive human being after school, but you're going to have terrible grades. You could have great grades, but actually be dumber than a rock, as it were. You know what I mean? I shouldn't say great grades.
Yeah.
You can get by having good grades by just kind of doing the right things, by conforming. If you're kind of a free, I guess that's my point is I feel that school in some ways challenges, free thinkers end up, I would feel, in, what's it called? You get sent to the principal's office. Crap, I didn't go to school, guys. Don't give me. What is it called when you would get put in detention? I feel like that's where people who maybe, okay, so for example, when my dad was teaching a class about history, if I interrupted, or, we rose our hand or whatever, we were still taught to do that, but if I was challenging him on something, if I was like, hey, why did this happen? What was the reasoning? We could have that conversation. And obviously he was only teaching 4 of us, so it was much easier to do that. But my point is, if you kept interrupting your teacher in school, was there any sort of reprimand for that, or was that encouraged?
It depended on the teacher.
Okay.
Some of the teachers I had were chill as shit, and you could be like, you know what? Why are you talking about this? And they'd be like, I couldn't tell you. But some of them were just complete, like some of the teachers that were in Adrian, I don't know if they absolutely hated their jobs or hated the kids. I mean, I can understand the kids were horrible, but
yeah,
they just weren't in the right position. And the one teacher was my math teacher. He like ruined my entire high school career. Like I had to serve him the other day, or well, not the other day, obviously. 4 months ago, I served him at my restaurant, and I almost cried because I was like, oh my gosh. But he was the most uncomfortable, awful teacher that you could ever think of. He hated the curriculum. He hated the kids. Like if you asked him a question, why are you asking me that? I already told you it's in the book. Read the book. And you're like,
yeah.
Obviously, I read the book and it didn't answer my question, stupid.
Yeah, that makes it hard. Math is one of those things. Certain people can sit down. Micah was pretty good at it. He taught himself a lot of math where he could just read about math and understand. I was not that person. Like, I could consume everything else.
I was not.
Like, English and psychology, I was really into. I did really great in those grades, and, like, my parents didn't have to teach me. I just taught myself the curriculum. But when it came to math, I was like... Yeah, it was bad. And it was just my way of thinking. That was the thing, is that they just had to understand where I was coming from, and I had to learn where I was coming from, right? That was another big part of it.
Right.
Was that I feel like school sometimes... Okay, for example, I know that my son probably suffers from some of the same issues that I do as far as being able to concentrate. There's certain things that when they grab his attention,
my kid does,
hooked,
yeah.
Right? But you as a parent know that, and that's where, like, that's what I'm saying, the mixture of having both school, public school, and also parents still caring and understanding their child and helping their child learn how they can learn, but allowing them to still, I don't know, I just feel like if your parent is one of those people who's just like,
I think that's the hardest part.
Go ahead.
I think that's the hardest part is to teach my daughter how to cope with things, because I was never taught how to cope with things. I never had a teacher that was like, you can do it. I did, but it wasn't like the subjects that I needed. Like I could fly through a lot of my subjects because, I mean, if you study enough, you can remember anything. And at that point, I was just like, I just need good grades. So I could remember anything I wanted to, but the classes I struggled in, like math and history, I couldn't do math every year. No matter what year it was, I got an F. And my parents would be like, do you got any Fs on your report card? Yep, I do. Math. But it was like I could not comprehend it. And so like now with like certain coping things with my kid, because she gets really frustrated really quickly. And she gets to the point where she starts going into a full-blown meltdown. And I'm like, it's okay, calm down. It doesn't work. But I don't know how to help her. I'm like, because I freak out too. Like if I can't draw something correctly, I'm like, fuck. And I like throw the whole paper off the floor. I'm like, well, that's not teaching nobody nothing.
It's just a circle. It's just a circle. No, I hear you there. That kind of goes back to that. Oh, go ahead. It broke up. Sorry.
No, you're good. I was done.
Oh, I was just saying that, like, Liam... Oh, welcome back, by the way, Micah. Liam gets pretty emotional sometimes. I don't know who that comes from. Probably not. I don't think it's me, though. My wife says all the time it came from her. But when it's happening, I'll calm him down. I'm like, it's okay that you're crying. Like, it's okay to have these emotions, but, like, we don't allow our emotions to dictate the whole situation here. Like, try and talk with him about, like, what is the next step? What can we do? Because, you know what I mean? Like, he'll be totally fine. And then, like you said, it can be an off-the-wall, oddball thing that just makes him cry. And,
that's literally crazy.
But I try to have him face it versus just, sometimes his mom, Christina just wants to, like, cuddle him and hug him and make it okay. And I'm like, no, he's got to, like, we have to work on, like, facing this. He's
got to be a man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not pushing the whole be a man thing.
I feel like I get too mad too quick. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, I feel like in school, if you are somewhat, say, ADHD or you're kind of a free thinker and you're challenging some ideas or thoughts, you can end up in a situation where your teacher, unless is a really good person, you become what's kind of considered labeled as a problem child or a distraction for the class. They're constantly interrupting. But
that was me.
Right,
that
but in fact,
me.
You could actually just be a really inquisitive kid who's trying to genuinely learn way beyond the rest of them. But my point being is...
See, mine was I had to draw to learn. So, like, I was kind of like ADHD, but I had to constantly be moving, but not in a disruptive way. And if I wasn't paying attention to the curriculum that I was supposed to be learning, some teachers would call me out directly in class, which I was already bullied. Like, that's already put more on me. Or they would grab whatever I'm drawing or writing and throw it away in front of me. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to sit here in the corner and do nothing now. Like, I'm not going to even work on your shit now. Like, fine, bye.
But
I was real defensive in school.
I guess what I'm going to ask here, the ultimate question, what I'm bringing around to, is that when we deal with, like, say on our show, since we deal with conspiracy theories, or we deal with some stuff that's in unknowns, have you ever noticed this? Okay, obviously, when you present a conspiracy theory, right, it can be off the wall, and you're like, okay, settle down, right? Like we talked about Project Bluebeam in our last episode. That thing was way out there. But just as easily as we're talking about Project Bluebeam, we have the moment of the people who immediately... Okay, so for example, 9/11. You don't have to say one or the other if you don't want to, Harleigh. But do you feel that 9/11 was at all an inside job, or did that definitely just happen the way that history is going to tell the way that it happened? You don't have to answer if you're not comfortable, by the way.
I don't mind at all. I honestly think I can go so many ways with so many topics, but I think my gut feeling is to say that it was an inside job. But, like, my outside thinking is, like, what if it actually was just an accident? Because they say it was an inside because, like, there's planes, there's stuff in
Hang on 1 second,
somehow
Harleigh.
they magically hit the towers.
Hang on 1 second, Harleigh. You can, where you said your gut instinct and it kind of broke up. I'll have you repeat what you said there because it broke up on you a little.
I said my gut instinct is to say that it's an inside job because, like, certain facts are there, like, oh, there's two planes, they hit both the towers, blah, blah, blah. But my outside feeling is to say that it's, like, was truly just an accident. Maybe it was just, maybe the one dude wanted to commit suicide, but maybe he wasn't actually trying to hit the memorial towers. Like, maybe it wasn't supposed to end like that, but it did. But so I see it both ways, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I guess that and I think it was the World Trade Centers, right? I mean, I know there was some other ones that were hit too, but
Yeah.
I guess my point to that is though, when you present a conspiracy theory, so that's a big one, and that's one that listen, people get fired up and ready to fight you over because that's not that far removed from our history. Okay, I'm dead serious. If you start talking about 9/11 being an inside job, people that you didn't know were patriotic are ready to stab you. And then you have on the other side, I guess that's my point is you can have someone who's like everything's an inside job, everything is a conspiracy theory, but then at just at the same time you have those that
Yeah.
like just believe everything the government's telling them. They're like, how could you question this? Do you know how many people would require to make
I
this?
feel like that's like right now.
Perfect example. I'll admit, listen, the more we've gone along, and some of this has to do with credit to the gentleman that I keep bringing him up constantly, but Joe and Ben had on their last episode. This guy went so far in depth on JFK, the assassination, some of the 9/11 stuff, and the Rona, that by the end of it, I was like, I was genuinely kind of pissed because it's gone beyond just even okay. It's gone beyond even just challenge, or no, I shouldn't say challenging, but slightly faking things. It's just blatantly being put out there now. But my point is that if you've gone to school and you've gone to college and you've gone that whole route, you might still be a free thinker for sure. But you were genuinely taught to believe the scientists and those that are experts in their line of work, which is fair. You should rely on that. We really should rely on that. But we still have to question occasionally, does the story make sense? In certain ones, like say the JFK assassination,
Everybody makes mistakes.
yeah, in those instances, there's no way that the story that history is telling is what took place. You know what I mean? And I guess
Yeah.
I kind of am thankful for being homeschooled a little bit on it because I do believe facts. I do believe real things. And I do like having hard evidence to point to. For God's sake, we've gone on the CIA database, pulled files, and posted them on our Facebook page for you guys to show that, like, listen, we're not making this stuff up. Like, if you actually genuinely look stuff up, it's right there for us. They're hiding stuff in plain sight, but it's easier for people to just believe, you know what, that just seems like that's too far of an idea, that's a crockpot kind of idea, that's too far. It's just easier to kind of fall in line and say that person's crazy. And I don't know, it's a slippery slope either way you go, right? Because you can end up in a situation where everything's conspiracy theory, but you can also, why are you believing everything? Like, is there no chance that anybody would ever lie to you?
I think it's a lot more powerful with the government too. Like if it comes from the government, everyone's like it has to be true, but that's not always true either because they could be crooked people. Which I mean, we are either seeing it or not seeing it. But I feel like people view people more in power, even if it's a doctor. Oh, well, they have power, so they must know what they're talking about. But half the time it could be a guess, it could be a hypothesis, it could be like a thesis, like it could be anything other than a cold hard fact. Like it's just something everybody has to guess before they get their answer, so it's you don't know for sure.
And I think too, Mike has brought this up before on the show, saying that in this day and age, with so many sources for information, I don't think it's by chance that it's hard to get a straight answer anymore. Where you basically, what I'm saying is you can have 10 people that support this opinion and 10 people that support this opinion, and they both clearly contradict each other. So that's the part where I'm like, well, who's lying, and why are you guys making it so
Who to
hard
believe?
Right. Yeah, so that's kind of, I guess, where I'm at on that. I don't know. I know we ended up on that for a second there didn't mean to put you on the spot for us. That's a hard one to even talk about. You did well for us even bringing up the idea of 9/11 or any of that stuff. But it's just my point being that just as easy that people believe the whole conspiracy theory thing, why are there those that believe, the minute they hear something that challenges them to have to really think, they're immediately on the side of the government. They're like, why would you even question this? When things don't add up. Now, again, you can't just make things out of nothing. But if you've got enough evidence or lines, dots start connecting, you've got to ask, why are the dots connecting? Are you just looking for it? Or is there genuinely something there?
Yeah.
Like the whole situation with the Rona here. I mean, what's your opinion on it?
I, from the get-go, I was like, it's an inside job. And I don't watch the news. The news freaks me out. It used to give me like terrible anxiety because I was like, the world's ending and I'm afraid to die. So I don't watch the news. And so I was like, dude, I bet you somebody made this because of population control, because we're ridiculously overpopulated and our world is like, our atmosphere and our ozone is starting to deteriorate. Mind you, it's probably from the 100 years of pollution, but get rid of the people, less pollution. So I was like, okay, it's an inside job. Well, then I seen a link that was talking about a man who didn't technically make the drug in general, but he sold something to a man in China. So I was like, well, okay. So that was the big part about it, was like, why? And then, so it was mainly targeting older people and mid-40s, which is like the people that are probably going to die soon anyway, in a non-mean way.
40? 40's
So-
pretty freaking young.
Okay, 40 and up.
Jesus.
40 and up, but I'm saying like a 40-year-old is more likely to die than a 15-year-old. I don't mean they're
Sure.
old, but they're older. Oh my gosh.
Well, it's. I mean, you're
So-
hitting on some stuff. Listen, like, and I don't know a whole lot about this, but it's some stuff that Mike and I were going to start hitting on in the next couple episodes here. Have you guys ever heard, either of you, about Agenda 21 at all?
Kind of. Not fully. No? I didn't look fully into it.
Okay, it's a conspiracy theory, again, always, right? But basically, in a nutshell, it's to... The plan is to depopulate the world's population by 95% by 2030. Now, some people say this is impossible, the amount of people that would need to be involved to make this happen, blah, 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 blah. But when you got guys like Bill Gates who, you know what, with what he's doing, perhaps it's going to work out. He's literally going to block out part of the sun. Guess what? The average Joe doesn't have the ability to be like, you know what, I'm going to block the sun out today. I mean, I can see how one person with that much power can choose. That guy has so much power across just the United States. Not even counting the world, but just the United States.
See, I've seen that, but I didn't think it was part of the population control.
Well, I'm not saying it is. What the idea is that they're going to put up, what are those things they're flying up there, Mike? I know you sent me that link on it. We had to do with, like...
Drone?
Sort of. They're like... I can't remember the name of them, but they'd be similar to a satellite that has, like, the shield on it, and they would reflect the sun back, so it would reduce the heat. But now the question is, what are the reverse effects?
No, actually, the one, if you're talking about the one with Bill Gates, it would be, basically they would, like chemtrail, well, what people think are chemtrails behind planes.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically it would be that, only it would be like a reflective material that would just float in the atmosphere and block the sun out. That's basically the concept behind it. And it would take, I think it was like 7 years or something like that. Because they'd only have, and we don't even have a plane that's capable of doing it at the moment. So they would have to, they'd have to develop a plane that's capable of doing this, and then they would. I think their plan was having a fleet of like 100 or 150 planes or something like that.
Yeah,
and they're going to have to cover the entire planet.
I think that's so stupid. I think that is so stupid.
My
that is
point
so
is, though,
stupid.
that most of us don't have that ability. Most of us do not have the ability to just say, we're going to do that tomorrow. Like, I like Elon Musk. I don't really have an issue with him. I don't know if he's part of the New World Order stuff, but, like, the fact that the guy's like, yeah, I'm probably going to go retire on Mars. I do not have that option in my back pocket right now. Credit to him and all his hard work and his team that they put in. My point being, when people say, dude, you're getting out there with these ideas, man. You really think these people have the ability? Yes, they have. Because if you have the money, you control. If you own the entire political system, this is why with the big pharma, when they've selected who is going to get elected on local government levels, they purposely did this so that can continue to get voted through and put into Congress. You virtually control Congress. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, they're going to be like, hey, we're going to help you get elected, but come this time down the road in 8 years when we want these things voted through, you're going to make it happen. And anyways, now I'm getting on politics.
Nice.
But yeah.
I think that
sorry.
like I feel like with the money, like the money hungry people like Bill Gates and all the Congress people, I feel they have the urge to do it. And if they're trying to take care of the population and say they find out that Mars is livable, they only said that the people that could go are the people that could afford it. So it's like, what's the point of even putting it on the news if you can't offer it to more than 10 people? I think controlling the sun, though, is real stupid. Because I didn't see that one. I didn't see the one with Bill Gates. There was a dude that was trying to do a thing where it, like, covers the sun so that it stops burning up our ozone. Like, it sounds really funny, but, like, he was trying to do, like, I guess it's like a machinery, but it covers the sun so it stops the ozone from deteriorating. Well, okay, so let's just blow up. It's fine. I think that's real stupid. Or just fall.
Yeah, we don't know the adverse effects of deciding to, put up a shield around Earth. That gets me down too many other rabbit holes. So I'm gonna refocus a little because otherwise we're gonna go down a rabbit hole, and who knows where we go from there. But my point being, I think specifically, and now I'm bringing up politics again, but when you're giving two god-awful choices with whatever political platform they're on to be elected, and then you're telling me I'm the dick because I'm not choosing between like this pile of crap and that pile of crap, that's bullcrap. You know what I mean? Like, give us somebody who's
a lot
worth
of crap
it.
involved in this.
There's so much crap involved, you wouldn't even believe. But my point being, something happens. I think the good people who go into politics that want to make a good difference get pushed down. Like, I'm not saying she's the greatest woman on planet Earth, but Tulsi Gabbard is a fantastic politician. She has been an incredible Congress member who's done some great things. She might have a few things that she voted on with her party that whatever. But when she gave her story even saying that, like, listen, we all signed in day one at Congress. There was the Republicans and the Democrats sitting together. And then she goes, as we got inducted into our, you can call it your political group. I call them gangs. They basically said, listen, this is the truth. She's like, they told us, they sit over there, we sit here, we do not associate with each other. Yet these are the people who were supposed to, when Congress was set up, these guys were supposed to be functioning together as a unit to make things happen. There should be some sort of pissing match on either side to see who's going to get what through. And that's what irritates me is an American. That's what bothers me. And then they put it back on us and say, well, because you didn't vote, or you're not standing with the right, or you're not standing with the left, that you're the problem. That's bullcrap. Every hardworking American is putting in way more effort than most of our Congress members, in my opinion. And for them to throw it back on us is bullcrap. Sorry, rant. I'm done. Might get takeover for a minute.
I feel that though, because I feel that with like the president, maybe not the congressman, but I feel that with the president. Like, oh well, you have to vote. If you don't vote, you have no say. I don't vote because I think they're all stupid, except for Obama. He wasn't like the worst, but he's still stupid in some parts. But they all have their issues. One of them's money hungry. One of them's a cheater. One of them said he was this race and he wasn't. Like, they all have their issues, and it's just because they said something to win the race. So everyone is like, oh, you can't say anything if you didn't vote. You can't have your opinion if you didn't vote. But it's like, you can. You just can't be like, I hate my president, because I mean, you didn't choose your president. It's just, you can still have an opinion if he's stupid or not, though. Like, I feel like that's the big thing.
Well, I'm an advocate for freedom of speech. I've said that. Even if you're expressing an opinion that bothers me or I don't agree with, that's still your God-given American right, born into this country. You did not have to earn it. It was given at birth by being born here. So you should have that right. Even if Mark Zuckerberg, hi good sir, does no longer believe in this and will ban you for I mean, look at how many things you've posted, Harleigh, on our page that just got removed now with no article on the bottom to say why it got removed. It's just you are not complying with the agenda.
They don't like what I have to say.
But it's just the start. This has been ramping up for the last 2 or 3 years. I think 2 years in particular, where we didn't realize at the scale that it's at. And Mike and I kind of hit on this in the last episode having to do with Project Bluebeam. But when you start limiting freedom of speech here and we just kind of accept it, we're like, okay, we're like, I'm waiting for the day that it rolls over from Facebook, social media, to, in reality, hey, someone heard. They didn't even say they seen it. They just, hey, we heard Harleigh said this. And now you've got to go face some sort of a fine. When are we going to start paying fines for freedom of speech? Anyways,
I mean, that's kind of like what's
Mike,
going on with the corona right
please.
now. Like a lot of people think that all the rights are going over with the coronavirus, and so I mean, like the right to protest. There's some possible gun protests going on because they think that they're going to take the guns away, and
I mean,
there's so much right
so,
now
like,
that's being violated.
Yeah, the governor instead, or declaring a state of emergency. Basically, she gave herself the power of God over you, and she can choose whatever she wants to ban. Like they could legitimately ban assault rifles, which I'm not even gonna get started on assault rifles, but they could ban the sale of firearms. They could ban the sale of ammunition. They can they can actually ration out gasoline and food under certain stipulations inside of executive orders. So like there's a lot of crap, and then like there's people. I guess there was a guy in Ohio that actually, I believe, got arrested because he did not have a valid reason to be out. Like we have a constitutional right of freedom of travel, so you're allowed to walk where you want. You know, the roads, that's kind of a different story because it's public, and it's, you can't just like drive your vehicle down the road, right? You have to have certain like your registration and all that kind of stuff. But if you just want to walk down a public sidewalk, you can go anywhere you freaking want. And constitutionally speaking, they can't stop you from doing that. And that's exactly what this is doing. So, I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like America is not built for a quarantine, and they're not wrong when they say that their rights are being trampled on.
Well, you know what's funny, Mike? I just real quick, Harleigh, so that people know, because I pulled up the article that Mike is mentioning here. I just wanted to kind of have the story for people. So yeah, this happened April 6th. And I guess this guy, he got arrested. Let's see. It looks like he was out with his daughter. It says the Brighton police owe him a huge apology. The 33-year-old says he was handcuffed in Donaldson Park in front of his 6-year-old daughter Sunday afternoon after police told him he violated the state's social distancing guidelines. Mooney told the Fox, 31 problem solvers, he refused to provide his identification to the 3 police officers because he was confident he wasn't doing anything unlawful by playing t-ball with his wife and daughter at the park. She's like, Daddy, I don't want you to get arrested. At this point, I'm thinking there's no way they're going to arrest me. This is insane. I'm telling her, don't worry, Daddy. Daddy's not going to get arrested. I've done nothing wrong. Don't worry about it. And then they arrested me. So without reading all of it, yeah, this happened. This guy got arrested. So he's not even, and I can see, I don't know, it could go both ways, right? If he was getting really rude with them or whatever. But
I'm sorry, it can't go both ways. No.
This is kind of an overreach. And then you're violating the social distancing rule by arresting him. And you're putting him in jail with the other people who are in jail because, well, screw those people.
Well, how is he violating social distancing if he lives with his wife and his daughter? Like, I don't understand how he violated that part.
The sign at the Donaldson Park
Except for he was at a park.
Yeah, so the park sign did say closed, but in small print reads, in groups of no more than 4 persons, parks remain open for walking, hiking, biking, running, and similar activities. So even under their standards, he still hadn't violated this. This wasn't
even
like
if
he had some sort
if they had, they should have been like, hey, you can't do this activity, and if you want to ask him to leave, if the park is privately owned or whatever, then you could get in trouble for trespassing. But that's it. Like you can't be arrested for doing lawful activities.
Check this part out. During the contact, none of the officers had masks on. None of them had gloves on, and they're in my face, handcuffing me. They're touching me, he said. But to their credit, he ended up being released within 10 minutes. So he was held, and he was probably what do they call that when you're not
then
arrested?
he was detained, not arrested.
Detained,
Yeah.
yes. So the article is a little.
But I'm
misleading
pretty
here.
sure that I don't think that's the one that I'm thinking of, because I'm pretty sure the one that I heard of, the guy was actually arrested and he was actually charged. And I don't remember.
I mean, was he pushing his luck being out about? Maybe, but should you have? I mean, have you taken Paisley out at all, Harleigh, during this?
Yes, but I think my biggest thing right now that I hate for quarantine is that playgrounds are closed. I get you don't want a bunch of people there, but I'm at an empty park. What
What does it matter? I've took her. Me and Nate took her on a couple bike rides, but we stopped at like this like ghetto playground. Like everything was broken playground. But she just wanted to go down the slides, and we were tired, so we were like, okay. So we stopped there, and the next day they wrote it off and wrote red flags all over it. Do not enter this park. Like, really? Who really? What? I'm not gonna catch corona on this one. I'm gonna catch AIDS. I'm not. It's not. I don't know what you want me.
Probably tetanus. You know what's funny about
gross,
that? That means somebody probably called.
I mean, I had
on you.
hand sanitizer.
You
I
what I mean?
know.
That's what it means, because, and that's the part of my thing being like, you remember a while ago, last year, you could post whatever on Facebook, but then if somebody reported you, they'd put a cover on your photo. So it says if you want to see this photo, it would give a warning, right? Uncover photo or uncover video.
Yeah.
I'm kind of okay with that. But the point being, they were encouraging people to report each other. And that's what's going on even with this quarantine. I'll admit, listen, at the beginning of this thing, I was kind of all in, because I feel that other people probably in my case were like this too. We're all pretty decent people. Like, we wanted to do what was right by old people.
Yeah.
We wanted to do what right was by those that weren't doing well, even if it meant a severe financial hit to us. We all teamed up and we're like, all right, let's do this. Now we're more than a month down the road, month and a half. And now it's coming to find out that this is starting to sound like this was all just some giant ruse and some sort of massive simulation that they decided to run on us. And I'm kind of pissed, because we all did our part, and there are people who are being arrested. There are people who are being encouraged to call one another. It's kind of a mess across the board. Do you have extremists on the other side? Yes, that bothers me. Should we take this serious? Sure, for those that are sick. But at this point, I mean, Micah, what was that video you sent me with those two doctors in California, and their video got keeps getting taken down from YouTube? Have you guys seen this at all?
I don't remember what his name
I
is.
haven't.
You haven't seen this? They basically sat down. They're from California, which, come on, guys, it's California. But their point being, it was basically saying, didn't it say something like less than 0.083% of people were being affected at this point because the numbers were being tainted?
Well, I mean, he definitely said that.
because the hospitals were reporting false information.
Yeah, he definitely mentioned that. Like it's being way over. I don't know. Politicized, I guess is probably the best word for it. And it's being overstated what it's actually doing, and they're using that to cause problems for people with your rights and that kind of stuff. But I mean, that's more or less what he was saying, was that we don't really need to keep like a stay-at-home order. It needs to be, if you have it, you should probably,
it should
probably
be the
quarantine
sick
yourself. The people that already are sick. That's the way that quarantine's supposed to work. But
And I could have got it maybe when it all began, like the beginning. I was all in. Plus, we were all tired of working, so like getting a week off, everybody was like, "Heck yeah," you know what I mean? But like once you've exceeded the 3 weeks to month point, now, at what point are we going to say, okay, maybe we need to get out and test our immune system a little bit? Now, somebody might be getting pissed that I'm even saying that, but there's evidence to back this up.
I feel that 100%.
The more we are subjected to just 1 to 2 to 3 people, the weaker our immune system can become. Yeah, as a whole. So,
Oh, yeah. Well, that's my thing. Like being a waitress, like I built up a huge immunity, and now I'm like, oh my god, I feel like I'm gonna get sick for anything. Like That's the only thing I'm afraid of is like I'm gonna get sick for anything because I'm not doing it. I'm not dealing with the public as much as I was before, and now I'm gonna give it to my kid. Like that's my only worry. I'm like, damn, dude, like we're not even trying right now.
Wait, what about this too? Why is it? Why is it that something like 95% of all the businesses that were shut down were small businesses? 20 people or less as employees. There's, you know what I mean? The major chains, they're up and running still. I got McDonald's today. I got Taco Bell today. Yeehaw. But like the local diner that we really liked, they shut down. And I don't know if they're ever going to be able to reopen because they just opened like 3 months before this all started. Who knows? Maybe they're going to. Maybe there'll be funds for them. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it is weird how certain things were allowed to stay open and then these things were not allowed. I mean, listen.
Well, they
Tyson,
said that on the news.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was waiting for you. They said on the news, like I was at my dad's house the other night, and he said, which mind you, I've took quarantine completely serious this entire time, but I'm still going to see my parents and Nate's parents. Like it's just going to happen. Family's family. But so I went to my dad's, and he said that on the news, they said that 1 in 5 restaurants will be completely shut down after this. And, somehow, some way, they suspect that the coronavirus will be held in for 2 years from now. How can they estimate that? Like, how do you figure? I just don't get that. Like,
Yeah, and this is where the more that I started to look this up over the last like week, I've gotten more pissed because in the beginning when people were saying it was all man-made, and I was like, I don't know, guys, like I don't know, like let's not go there just yet. But then the more and more evidence has come out, there were people who were saying back in 2017, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, something like Dr. Fauci or something like that, that said Trump's administration was going to face a major pandemic. How did you predict this in 2017? There's too much that starts to add up.
Obama said it too.
Well, that's true. Yeah. No, Obama said that. This is the part where it's like, perhaps they were just generally stating it, right? It might have been a general statement of, hey, we may face a pandemic, versus the guy who specifically said, this timeline, this is going to happen. But I don't know. What I'm saying is, there's too much that our government's lied to us on before. We're going to, in the next couple of episodes, Micah and I are going to bring forth some real cases that have happened in the past 2 decades or 3 decades for you guys to see. Because I understand you probably don't trust us right now. You're listening to us. You're ready to turn us off. I don't know. But just give it a couple more episodes. We'll continue to present evidence that shows here is the evidence. We're not just trying to make this up. And I'm not trying to sway you to think one way or the other. All I'm trying to do is challenge you to say, hey, take a minute, step back, ask yourself why you believe the way you believe, and do you truly believe the way you believe? Had you had to defend the way that you believe? I don't know, Michael. What are your thoughts? Am I a dick for saying that?
The government would lie.
Well, no, the taking a step back and defend your actual thoughts and.
No, I think everybody, including myself, benefits from trying to pick apart your own argument. You know what I mean? If you can prove yourself wrong, then obviously you probably need to reevaluate what your thought pattern is about something. But as far as the coronavirus, I mean, there's a lot of people I don't think take it very seriously, but there's also a lot of people that take it extremely seriously. And I am 90% sure that the crisis that has happened over the fear mongering on this pandemic, if you want to call it that, has been way worse for people than the actual virus itself, and has affected far more people. I mean, especially when you were talking about small business owners, like. There's tons of small businesses that are going to go out of business because either they lost their lease to whatever property they had because, they're not making any money.
Sorry.
Nice. They're not making any money, so it's hard for them to stay in business. They might not have the employees that they had when they come back because they might have found different jobs. Like, there's tons of stuff that's going to really screw over all the small businesses that really America is built on. I mean, you can't, Like, yeah, there's lots of huge corporations, but the little guys are huge portion.
It's building
of that.
blocks.
So it's, I don't know. I think
like
there's
the-
going to be a lot of, there's still going to be a lot of crap from this. I mean, if you think about how much more we added to the debt just to give everybody their stimulus check, and now every state with the CARES Act is adding another $900 or $600 to every week for unemployment. Like, we're going trillions of dollars, trillions and trillions of dollars in debt.
Here's my favorite part about
this.
that. Did you or did you not hear other way on this, Micah? Did you hear that we may have to pay this all back in taxes next year? Have you
Oh,
heard
there's
this
no way
rumor?
you can pay that all back in taxes in a single year.
Correct, right? But this is the other part where I'm like, mother trucker, first of all, any money
Well-
you're giving us is probably taxes that I paid in. Like, it's probably my money. You're gonna tax me for taking me money and going, okay, you may borrow it back, but I'm gonna tax you. I got the money, and then you give it back again. I'm gonna tax you.
I know that, like, they're like stimulus loans and that kind of stuff to different businesses. A lot of those are going to have to be paid back.
Yeah.
Because they're loans. They're not. I don't believe that. I didn't hear anything about, like, the stimulus check that you
Yeah, I don't think that
received is something that you have to pay back. But I don't know. I'm sure there's going to be some type of way that they're going to screw you out. I mean, like,
Now,
it's just.
Harleigh, if you don't mind me asking real quick, since we're on the politics, we might as well hit it. You're considered a millennial, right? Are you millennial or Gen Z? Wait, did I say that wrong? No, yeah, Gen Z.
I believe I'm millennial.
What year were you born?
I believe I'm millennial. 97.
97.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you're a millennial. Now, what is interesting about millennials? Why have you never like the whole idea of voting and kind of disassociating yourself from politics? I think there's something to that. Like, why is it that you think you said the whole idea of trying to get involved with that kind of stuff or hearing about it gives you deep-rooted fear? So do you think that was by chance, or is it a majority of millennials who are not really paying attention to politics?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's how you're raised. My mom doesn't vote, but my dad does. And I was raised more by my mom, and she never watched the news. My dad does. I think it's more of how you're raised. I don't view voting like it's necessary, yes, because you need to have a good person to vote in whoever. But realistically, any of the candidates for the past however long I've been able to vote are stupid. Like, I don't want to vote for any of them because none of them, in my opinion, are good choices. If it becomes a good choice where I'm like, damn, that person really needs to win, I might vote. But so far, they have not had anybody that seems worthy enough to run a fucking country because they're all morons in a nice political way. But, like,
Sponsor this
like with
political
Donald
ad has been
Trump.
brought to you by.
yeah.
Well, you know what's funny about
because, like,
that?
with Donald Trump, he literally won it because he has money, and he swore that he would get us out of debt because he's a bajillionaire, but, like, he didn't, and he can't, and he fumbles his words, and he tweets things that he can't even pronounce. He's stupid. Stupid.
I'm
And I
holding
could
on
tell
to
you that from watching one of his reality shows.
I'm holding on to the table here because the ginger rage is about to be triggered.
No,
I'm just kidding.
No,
I'm kidding.
no, you have whatever.
I'm
opinion you like.
sorry. I'm
No.
sorry.
Like we've said, freedom of
You
speech
don't need to
is what you should-
apologize for your opinion. I
I mean,
personally.
he has good aspects in some points, yes, but
Okay.
I think-
like I said, I think certain things that there's a lot of people that are just misinformed. I'm sure I'm probably just as misinformed on plenty of subjects as everybody else, but I think given a fair shake. I know you mentioned something about Obama earlier. I didn't really want to get into that. Personally, I feel like Obama's probably the worst president we've ever had. He was not a good president, and he added trillions and trillions. He tripled our freaking national debt. And no president in history has ever done that, and Trump still hasn't done that, and we're going through a freaking pandemic. So, I don't know. It's just
Yeah, I mean,
and not just
they
on
all
that.
have good aspects. I mean, Donald Trump has his aspects that are good about him, but I think the way they present themselves is some of them can be the most unprofessional. Like, yes, like I said, I don't watch news, so I am very outdated with any information on Donald Trump. But I think the way he holds himself, the way he presents himself, the way he talks, the way he reads, the way he just is, I think he just presents himself
You just
as a very
dislike him as a human.
stupid person.
China.
Basically.
Look, I'm not defending his personality because, and quite frankly, I really don't give a flying fudge stick. What his personality? Yeah,
Wow.
I know. I really don't care what a person does or is in their personal life. I care about the results that you see, and up until March 20th, I mean, the economy was the best it had ever been in the country, and it's really, really, really hard to argue that one, that's Obama's doing, and two, that that somehow he's still like the worst president and comparable to Hitler. I don't know. It blows my mind that there's so many people out there that
No, it's
that
funny
can
you bring that up.
compare Trump to Hitler. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, there's
it's funny.
literally people out there
Yeah.
that will do that.
Well, I was going to ask Harleigh, because, I mean, and Harleigh, again, you should listen in any time, and I know it's hard, but if you feel like you're expressing an opinion that disagrees with us or whatever, or Micah, I get that expressing your own opinion can be hard in that situation, but definitely feel free, like, literally, no way, shape, or form are you going to come away from this and Mike can be like, oh,
you're good.
Hair again. But my point being...
He's never coming on this show again.
I mean, I can't control how you feel about it, but yeah, I don't hold any hard feelings towards anybody that expresses a different opinion.
But from that point of
I'm
view, I
good.
guess, with you not being a fan of Trump at all, do you think that the comparisons there are too far? Do you think people, when they go straight to that, where you're a racist bigot if you support Trump, do you think that that's too far of a stretch, or is that a fair assessment?
If
I
you
know it's
support
kind of a
Trump,
loaded question.
okay, anybody that, I was gonna say, because I don't care who you vote for. You obviously view them some way, somehow good fit. My biggest thing was with Trump that for some reason, like I said, I don't watch the news. I'm going to keep reiterating that because I could be wrong. But with Obama or any other president, it didn't seem like they posted as much bad stuff as they do with Trump. Like with Trump, anything and
That is
everything that is
true.
wrong, it's Trump's fault.
That is
No, that's
true.
So I mean, like,
Fair point.
you see Trump in a bad light. I see Trump in a bad light because when I turn the TV on, if I do turn the TV on to that aspect, it's because Trump like bombed Syria, or Trump did a chemical warfare, or Trump is trying to like kill Kim Jong, whatever the stupid name it is. Like it's always
bombed Syria
bad.
more, and Obama spent more money on bombing other countries than any president in history. So I
Yeah.
think that
See,
I'm just
like, I wouldn't have
I'm not
known
trying
that.
to argue. I'm just saying, like, and
No, you're good.
and personally, I feel like there's a huge media agenda against Trump, and
Yes.
I'm not defending Trump in any,
It's
like,
on any of the presidents,
but
there can be massive push.
there's massive, like, if you look at most left-leaning media, which I know CNN will convince you that they're not, they are, but any platform that is left of center is going to be bashing Trump like 24 hours a day, and it just seems to be the way that it's been since he got I mean, like, even before he was president-elect, and they were still, like, I mean, like, obviously they thought he was a complete joke when he was running, and
We all
there was
did.
a lot of people that made fun of him.
We all did.
I didn't think he was going to win, and when I heard it was Hillary and Trump, I mean, I wasn't going to vote for Hillary because, well, we all know that I wasn't going to vote for Hillary.
Because you're
But
a sexist bigot.
yes,
You misogynist.
I believe in the patriarchy, and it doesn't have room for for
Stupid.
females. Anyway,
How rude.
yeah, no, I've got no problems with a woman being president, just not that woman. So anyway, when I heard that was who was running, I was like, well, I mean, she's probably gonna take our guns away and that kind of stuff. She's gonna at least try.
Wow,
and
way to
then
just
Trump.
fit the
Yeah,
print.
I mean,
way to just fall right into that.
It's probably would have happened, to be honest. And then Trump, I assumed he was going to start. I think this is not
Yeah,
focused
move,
again.
move your
I'm not
face
sure.
in a little. Move your face
Ooh,
in.
move my face in. Okay. Is this
back
better?
out.
Okay. There we go. There we go.
There you go.
Is that better? It's
Yeah,
better.
you're good.
Maybe. I don't care. But with Trump, I really thought he was going to start World War III. Honestly, did. And then I was very pleasantly
Well, that's like all the media
surprised.
shows. Like
Well, I
they
guess
depict him like that though, because I mean, he was on a bunch of reality shows, and he depicts himself as a very stupid. Like he shows himself as somebody who doesn't really care for other people's. He presents himself that way. Himself presents himself as he doesn't care for others. So I feel like it's easier to put a bad name on him than a good name. So all the bad, like the left sides that are like coming for him, I feel like it's easier to come for him because he depicts himself as someone who's kind of cold-hearted. So I feel it's easier to be like, it's Trump's fault because he's a dick, than to be like, yeah, actually he actually kind of like tried, he tried.
You know what I think's funny is, and if you don't mind, I think you just said it perfectly there, Harleigh. I really think you did. But if you don't mind my asking, you mentioned you don't watch the news to get your information, which I'll admit I don't a lot. I keep up with the news enough to like stay in the loop, but I don't use it as my only source of information. I just like to see what everybody else is hearing. Would you say that you get about 90% of your news or information from Facebook?
Yes. Or those stupid, like I'll be like on Netflix or something, and those stupid Amber Alerts with Trump's face pops up, and they're like, "You need to listen to this," and I'm like, "Fuck, dude, this is not what I signed up for."
So is that?
I've gotten like 4 of them, and I'm like, I do not feeling it.
You know how there's an algorithm on Facebook that watches you, it knows your profile. So what it does is so what it basically does, and it does this to all of us. I try to screw with mine.
You can turn that off.
Well, you can, but what I'm saying is, it doesn't really go away. It makes you think. But the point being, what'll happen is it sees what you're liking or into, and then it only shows you stuff. It's called, what is that called? The echo chamber effect. So what happens is you're only seeing things on Facebook or seeing things projected back to you that fit what you currently believe. Now, what this does is divide people up even more than identity politics really does, and it makes you think that everyone in the world is saying only what you think, and the information you're going to get is only going to be from that point of view. So you're not going to see things that challenge you. And also, and I'm not pissed at any individual over this, I'm pissed at Facebook over this, but this is something that needs to be called out, and they have been called out over this, and Google's just as guilty or worse. My point being, if the person at the top of whatever that major platform is doesn't agree with whoever's in office, doesn't even have to be Trump, just whoever, they can affect the information that you're receiving, period. So don't you think it's funny, and I thought you said it perfectly when you said every major news or everything is telling me the same thing. Now, don't you think that's a bit conspicuous, even if it was anything, whatever the story was, if everybody was saying the exact same thing, literally verbatim? We can send you videos, we've posted it on our page too, where the news, the guy pulls up literally like 20 to 30 stations, and I'm not kidding, Harleigh, they are saying they're reading the same script. And it's because one person owns all those news articles. And that's the part that bothers me. You can be trying to do what's right. You can be trying to actually get information. And fair point to you, if you check more, for God's sake, nobody wants to have time to go and check 3 to 4 different sites to see if it's right. But if you do check 3 or 4 and they all agree, guess what? That just became a fact for you. And you kind of did your part. But ultimately, there's this giant smoke screen in front of all of us. And for us to get through it, to view it in a different way is hard. And if you even try to entertain, like the conversation you and I and Mike are having right now, if we were having this on Facebook, could you imagine the uproar that would be taking place right now?
Oh my God.
I'm dead serious. I'm not wrong,
How
am I?
dare you talk about my husband Trump like that?
But I'm just saying, there is something about that. I guess that's what I keep asking myself so much lately is, why is it that you have to either love Trump or hate Trump? Why are we separated in these two categories? Why are we not looking at numbers? Again, I'm not saying that's all that matters. Would it help to have somebody who's a good person? Sure. Is Trump somebody I trust around my family to hang out with my wife? I don't know. Probably not. Maybe not. I don't know, right? But my point being, if I wanted him to turn a business around, I would probably listen to Trump. Like, if I actually ran into the guy and he gave me some advice on the street, I would lean an ear in. I would lean an ear into anybody who's any big business, whether you're left, right, or whatever, if they were actually giving that advice. I don't know. I'm not saying I'm some massive Trump supporter, but I do think it is funny that he's the one guy. Now, Obama received a lot of heat too. Don't act like he didn't get heat. But I don't know that anybody's gotten it quite as bad as Trump, and that's because Trump doesn't help his case. Like you said, with him getting on Twitter, and I don't think he helps his case. I think he
so
hurts
stupid.
himself just as much.
He's so stupid.
But what I do think is important to call out is that look at how hard or uncomfortable it can be to just have the conversation we're having, right? And we're not even being rude or mean to each other, but do you feel that even in the back of your head a little bit? Do you almost feel like this is a conversation we aren't supposed to be having? Like, do you feel that a little bit or no? No? I'm just saying, in general.
I feel like it's something that. No, I feel like it's something that should be allowed to be talked about. I mean, like if you were doing it on Facebook, I feel like someone would
swear
like,
to God, you
like,
put it on Facebook,
someone,
you're gonna take it.
FBI would flag it, yeah. But I feel like it's something that needs to be talked about because it's something that's. Delete.
Yep. Hashtag remove blocked.
But yeah. Hashtag you thought. But I feel like it's something that needs to be talked about because it's something that's like your everyday life. We're not ran by a queen or a king. We're ran by a president. And so we have to rely on that president to make sure that we're okay and I guess alive-ish. Not literally physically alive, but like mentally, like financially alive, like thriving.
Are we ran by President Micah?
Something that needs to be talked about.
I mean, technically, yes. Technically, the United States president is the most powerful person in the world. But I do think that local elections are probably far more important than who the president is, because they do have 100% a direct effect on your life, and they can, they do like raising your property taxes, raising your your city taxes, that kind of stuff, whether or not your roads actually get fixed, what your kids are eating at school, all that kind of crap is a lot of that is a local election. And I think that is far more important than who the president is. The president doesn't have that much influence on your personal life.
Well, but I think there's, the three branches of government exist for a reason too. When you got the legislative branch, the judicial, and then the presidential. So there is a balance to things, and I think people forget that too. I guess that's my point, is that we put way too much on a president.
That's true, but like you also, when you were talking about like politicians being, bought and paid for, guess who legislators and judicial branch are? I mean, especially like judges, in my opinion, I think judges have far too much power.
It is amazing how much power
they have so much leeway where they basically get to dictate what the freaking law is, and you don't
interpret. They can also interpret,
and they don't really have much. They don't really have much accountability for it. I mean, if someone really, really, really abuses their power, they might eventually catch up to them, but a judge can do pretty much whatever they freaking want. Especially those.
There's a
especially
reason.
Like,
sorry, Mike.
Like the Supreme Court and that kind of stuff. And think about like Judge Kavanaugh. He's appointed, right? He's in there for life. The only way he can be outed is if he gets impeached out of it. And chances are good that ain't gonna happen. So stuff like that, like those judges are there. And if they are piss poor at their jobs, well, there's not a whole lot you can really do about it. And that kind of stuff, I think is probably more important than who the president is.
Yeah, like I was gonna say, there's a reason why the old school mafia used to make sure they had politicians and judges bought and paid for. You need them. There's a reason. They understood the laws. They understood the way they could get around it in a legal manner. So, and real quick, I know we all got to get going here. So, in closing, Harleigh, I apologize. We told everybody we were going to talk about Jack the Ripper. I know we do not have enough time to do that, so we're going to have you back on.
How dare you?
To talk about Jack the Ripper. Is there anything you just want to add real quick though? I don't want you to leave on a sour note or feel like you got attacked here by the
Got a thrashing.
I really needed to talk about Jack the Ripper, but since we can't talk about that, no.
But I mean, is there anything
No,
you
I
just...
think.
He's gonna stop interrupting
Nate
you
came in the room.
like the mansplaining
No,
thing
you're
that he does.
you're good. You're good.
He's gonna
Nate
sit
walked
there
in
and
the
he's
room
gonna
anyway,
shut
so
his
I was
mouth
just
and he's gonna let the woman
glaring
talk
at him.
as I talk over her.
How dare you? Bull.
You can't see us,
No,
Harleigh, but we're both making the zip sign. Crap, I talked over her. Dang it, mother trucker.
God damn it! Hey, go check on Paige. No, again. No, I think it's all pretty good. Stop distracting me. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Shut up. Yeah, for your opinion. I don't know what I was gonna say. He interrupted me.
Oh, we were
You
just
all
asking...
interrupted me. All of you
Yeah, we
men
did.
interrupted me.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Patriarchy, man.
I will say this in closing, I guess.
Misogynist.
I appreciate you coming onto the show, first of all, and being such a supporter of it. I really do appreciate that, so thank you. And, number two would be thank you for having the conversation that might be uncomfortable. It sounds weird. I get uncomfortable about it, but I kind of thrive on conversations that make me uncomfortable because I don't feel I can learn more or get a better understanding of that person's point of view or just a topic in general if I'm not a little uncomfortable. Because that whole idea of the echo chamber. If I just keep talking to people that believe and think the same as me, am I really growing or challenging my thought process?
See, I like kind of opinionated differences because I can always play the devil's advocate. I can see both sides to each thing. I'm not gonna just be my opinion is right and I'm always right and 100% right. I can see the side of both sides. So those conversations aren't hard for me because I like to see where people are coming from. I used to spark debates with abortion and the breastfeeding topic, and vaccines. I used to spark those conversations because I want you to be able to see my side, but I also want to be able to make you work for your opinion. I don't want you to just have a set opinion to be I'm right. I want you to be no, I'm right because this fact, this fact, this fact. I don't want you to just be my opinion is always right because I just view it's right. Why is your opinion right? Tell me why it's right.
Yeah. No, I think that's great because it makes the person you challenge that person to actually, if nothing else, I've always said, what happens from that is you either realize that what you believe is right because you have the facts to back it up, or you all of a sudden you come to a new revelation that perhaps the way you thought or someone made you think is not actually accurate. No one had just ever challenged you on it, so you'd never thought of it differently.
Yeah. Yep.
Well. All right, Micah, you want to add anything?
No,
I know we're all getting ready to we'll hop off here. I just wanted to say thank you, Harleigh, for coming on. I know I've said it 5 times now, but I do genuinely appreciate it. We're going to have to get you set up next time. We got to get a mic for you and a camera over there. We'll get your computer hooked up. We'll bring you back on. We can talk about Jack the Ripper. We can bring up the abortion stuff and vaccines. Have you noticed vaccines have really on our page? That has been anytime vaccines are mentioned, dude, that thing blows up in 20 minutes with very aggressive opinions on either side.
Should just vaccines ... post it. Find out what happens.
Tonight's
You're gonna
episode,
get
vaccines.
your throat came at.
Well, I mean, we didn't really talk about vaccines. You
God.
really should just put tonight's episode, Trump and parenting, ... There would be so many questions. Trump giving parental advice since 2020. Okay. Anyways. Oh, my gosh. Well, I think I'm good. I don't have anything else really to add to this one. I don't know if there's anything you guys want to give a shout out to anybody, Harleigh? Before you hop off here to adoring fans around the world. Dude, I'm so excited. We have people in the Netherlands and Scotland listening now. Our mother people. I mean, like 5 generations back, but still, you know, like.
Yeah, it's good representation there.
Yeah. Really people
Came from monkey.
They're barbarians.
It sounds like a caveman. Yeah, I don't think, by the way, if you live in the Netherlands or you're Scottish, I don't think that's how you operate. I don't think you're decisive. Now, if you're Irish, well, you know, it's.
Ooh, Will's talking smack
Probably
about you,
go
babe.
fight.
Listen, I have a lot of Irish in me, and I'll tell you right now, when people get in the argument of the difference between Irish and the Scottish, dude, listen, Scottish had a system. They had government. They had so much more structure. The Irish were barbarians who beat the crap out of each other and were bloody alcoholics. Still are, but, you know, just saying. Not so much hate on you guys, but, like, the Scottish were a little better. That's all I'm saying. A little
I
more.
feel like that's not too much far off than me and Nate. Like, I feel like I can drink and beat the crap out of him.
Someone call CPS, right? Oh, wait, CPS is for kids.
Yeah,
He
that's
gave
Child
me the
Protective
dirtiest
Services.
look.
I forgot about when we did have you on and
Yeah.
we did talk about Jack the Ripper.
Call
we were
CPS on my husband.
we were genuinely concerned for Nate's
For
safety.
Nate's safety,
We were
yeah,
like,
we were.
someone check on his health insurance policy right now.
I mean,
I was not the only one that admitted to wanting to murder someone. Okay.
a $150. He's in pretty good shape. I think he's got you.
What? Nate's a solid 184 now, bro.
I would be
150.
surprised.
No.
I'm gonna
He
guess
was
right now.
I think he was
No.
155 when he used to hang out with us, and I can't imagine
No, he's
put
probably
on all that much
he's
weight.
probably in the 170, 180 range. Dude, Nate's like a beast.
He's not. He's like, what are you? 158, 160, 165.
We split
No,
the
he was a
difference.
little bit more than
Yeah.
but not much.
That's true. And by the way,
Oh, I
guys,
could take him.
He's got it. I
It's
think
the end of the
he's
show.
got it.
the end of the show.
I'd be betting on Nate.
it is the end of the show, but Harleigh does, fun fact about her, play a unique sport. I forgot that I wanted to bring that up last time, and we never brought that up. So I guess you could tell people real quick what that is.
Roller derby.
Roller derby.
Can you go out of the room real quick? Hold
Brittany-
on, it's really
Brittany
weird
would
to
really
talk
like to play
in front of Nate.
roller derby.
Yeah, have you thought about recruiting Brittany at all?
I told her to join my team. She said that she doesn't quite know. So
She probably
there's
messed
that.
some
Well,
people up.
she hasn't been on rollerblades and
Excuse me,
knows
sir.
how long.
It's roller skates, so get it right or don't talk about it.
skates are the single line wheels. That's what we
No,
used to do.
no. Rollerblades are the single line.
No, that's roller
skates
skate.
are
That's
four.
rollerblades.
Yeah, rollerblade, rollers. What was I calling them?
Roller skates.
Rollerblade.
Yeah. You were saying that what they play on is rollerblades, but they're not. They're roller
Roller
skates.
skates.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You just might have said it.
Whatever.
But yeah, it's a tough sport. It's I've only ever seen a few highlights from it, and I'll tip my hat to anybody who plays that because it's I don't know if it's not like rugby tough, but you guys actually like hit each other, right? Like you can
Oh, it
physically.
can be. It's mainly it's kind of like football and basketball on skates. It sounds really funny, but like the jammer is the girl that has a star in her head, and her objective is to get through the pack. So technically, she's kind of like the ball in a way. Like if you're comparing it to basketball, she's like a ball, and all of the other people on the track are the hoop. Well, I guess they're just the rebounds. So her getting out of the pack is like her making it in the hoop. So every person she passes is a point. But when I say like it's kind of like rugby, the last girl that I took a picture with, she was off skates, mind you, off skates. She was 7 foot and 366 pounds, and I came to the bottom of her boob. Like her boob sat on my head. I was like, this is not okay. I'm not okay with this. Yeah, the women in roller derby are like men. They are men. Like they're not obviously they're not men, but
Well, you did play
I don't
with the
know
one
what
that was...
women eat. Yeah, but
That's another topic.
we're not gonna.
He
Men
was
playing derby too.
transitioning, okay.
Yeah. But I've played against men, and there's co-ed teams where you can play with men and women, and I'm terrified of the women. Women like when I was like playing against men versus women, like men and women, I was more scared of the women than I was the men. And the one guy I would say is like your size, Will, like your build, your height. Like he was a big dude and he hit hard, but his wife hit harder and she hit a lot meaner. I was like, I don't want it. I don't want that one. I don't want her.
Yeah, I mean, in my personal opinion, I don't mean this in any negative way, but I feel like if you're playing in a co-ed sport, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I am, but you're not the biggest person, and if this guy is William's size, he's not gonna put all his effort into pushing you around. Like,
oh no, he did.
He'll break you.
Oh no, he did. He did. He did not give two shits. He did. No, I swear to God on my life. Because he even said at the beginning, he was like, I'm just letting you know you chose to play against me, so what you get is what you get. Like, he didn't care. He had no mercy. And he hit hard. He hit hard, but it was the way he hit because he's so tall. He hit me towards my shoulders.
Yeah,
so, it knocked me over, yes. Like, it knocked me over, yes, but she knocked me over from my hips and my thighs. Like, she hit me from my hips to my thigh. I fell so hard. I flew. Like, I was like, I don't like her.
Yeah,
I don't like it.
Like, you guys are on it. For people that obviously you're just listening on audio, imagine, a normal track. You guys are just skating around this track, and every time you can pass the finish line, you get points, correct? While passing people as well?
It's every time you pass a person. Every person you pass is a point.
Now, how do they track that?
So their objective is to try to get you to not pass them.
So that's why they swing people forward. Like, you'll see teammates grab a girl's hand and then they'll, like, throw them forward to, like, give them momentum.
Yeah, yep, because that's like we call that a hole. Like, she's creating a hole. So she's getting me through. So her hole made me pass 4 people. So that's 4 points. So their objective really is to just try to get me to not pass them. So hitting me out, taking me back, which is like if someone gets hit out of the rink, they have to be took back. So like a girl will skate 15 feet back and you have to come in behind her, and it's super exhausting and super like draining.
Gotcha.
So it's just a constant cat and mouse game. It's so stupid but so fun. Honestly, it's so rough. My mom plays, and she's broken like all of her fingers. She's broke her nose. She's broke her clavicle. I'm like, yeah, okay, I want to play too, Mom. Okay.
And then you do.
Well, the point I was bringing
knock
up,
on wood, have not gotten hurt yet.
first of all, I tip my hat to you because, I like anything that's like physically challenges people anyways in athletics, even though I don't look like it. I do like physically athletic stuff. Or at least tip my hat to him. So I tip my hat to you, but also we have quite a few listeners in the Adrian area, as well as the place that Micah lives, that I'm not allowed to say because I keep saying it out loud. And point being, in your general place of area, there are quite a few listeners from our show. So if you want to mention your team's name and where they can look you guys up and check you out if they want.
My new team is called Irish Hills Bombshells. We're from Onstead. You can find our page on Facebook. As of right now, due to Rona, we're pretty much out for the season. The virus. So right now we've canceled bouts until June. We might be able to do some more later on after that. We usually have a season until November, so we might be able to. Usually if on our Facebook, if we're having a bout, you can see where and like what time and all that. So if you're in the area, you can go, or we do travel. So there was one this year before the corona, we had one scheduled for 9 hours up north. So you can always go, like, you can always see where we're going. Yeah. Me and my mom used to go to Kentucky. So,
Michigan.
I mean,
Jeez.
I think it was pretty
That's like
close
the Upper
up there.
Peninsula. That's ways, but
It was Kingsford, I think. It was right next to Marquette.
wow, no, yeah, that's way up there.
But
Well, anyways,
Yeah.
I think Christy and I talked about, like, once things get back to normal, we'd have to come out one time and, check it out and see what it's all about. I think it'd be fun to watch anyways, either way. It'd be kind of funny. I mean, it sounds terrible, but why do we laugh when people get hit and knocked down? We're all like, oh, like, you're kind of concerned, but at the same time, you're like, dang, got messed
dude,
up.
that is the biggest reason people come out, is in a nice way. A lot of the audience just wants to see a fat girl fall on her butt. Like, I don't... That's the most thing I've ever heard from an audience is, dude, I just want to see a fat chick fall. Like, why?
That's
Why is that your
terrible.
motivation? Oh, dude, it's so funny, though. But they have suicide seats, so they're seats that are basically directly on the rink. So we have our rink is roped off, so our out of bounds is where the rope is not. And you basically can sit directly on the rope, so you can literally have people fall in your lap. So if you want
Holy
a bloody
crap.
eye with a beer, go right ahead of it. Have it. We're like,
Wow. That's
have
pretty
more
crazy.
fun for you.
I kind of feel like nobody takes it serious right now as far as roller derby. I kind of feel like in the next 15, 20 years, it's going to, I don't think it's going to blow up like the UFC did, but I think it's going to be one of those events, one of the first.
Start bringing in like
Yeah.
knives and stuff. And
Well, no. But I'm
shanking
saying,
people.
Oh my
you know what I'm
gosh.
saying? It's like, I do think as a sport overall, I think
not.
it's going to gain some traction, in the next 20 years, 2 decades or so. So we shall see.
It's already started to pick up. It's
Yeah.
starting to be. It's more international now, and there's a bunch of. I think the state itself has, or like the United States itself has over maybe 50. Would you knock it off, Nathan? Probably like. I want to say 15,000 teams because my one team was
Holy
ranked
crap.
in the thousands. So there's a
Nice.
lot of teams. It's just if they're ranked or if they're not ranked or if they're starting out, it's really hard to get a team to start out. So if they're started out, like it's hard to establish with. So some of those teams could have already been like dropped off and canceled. But there's a thing, I don't really know what it's called, but there's a tournament that gets shipped overseas for roller derby, so they have to go and play in Europe for a huge week long roller derby event.
Hey,
I don't,
real quick, I just thought about it too before we end the show here. What is the one thing we have not said on the show yet, Micah?
Broners.
I got him to say it. Episode 16. Oh my
Is that what I
gosh.
think it is?
I've been trying for so long to get him to say that. I don't think we can say anything
Oh,
else
it's
and then a better note than that. Looks like Micah's lady's home anyway, so Harleigh, it's been a pleasure talking with you and having you on. We'll definitely have to get something set up again. We'll get into the Jack the Ripper stuff and maybe some abortions and vaccines, so we'll get something squared away for sure, okay?
All right.
It is not just
I'm
juice.
down.
All right, well, Micah goes and has a good evening.
I thought it
Child-free.
was just juice.
Not child, yeah. That's adult juice right there. So, all right, guys. Take it easy. Enjoy your evenings. And as always, I almost said it wrong. I almost said stay curious. Or, no, it is right. God's sake.
Yeah. Stay curious.
And keep it weird. Yeah, I was saying it all wrong. All right, guys. Enjoy your evenings.